Talk about Steven Spielberg. Because listen, you can't listen. Roughly, he has made, I want to say, arguably like some of the greatest movies. Like, listen, you could take at least 80 to 90% of Steven Spielberg's movies, and they would be considered to be the greatest movies of all time. Period. End of discussion. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But wait, no, there's no buts. There's no ends, if buts, or coconuts. Steven Spielberg is arguably, keyword, it's all subjective at the end of the day, but it's arguably the greatest director of all time. Now, because I didn't tell you guys why I wanted to choose this topic tonight. I wanted to choose this topic for us because I was doing a little homework and research about what we could do for a topic this week, and I said, and I was really quick, super short backstory. For those of you who don't know, we do this podcast and we do the Super Review Show because of a no longer active YouTube sensation channel called AMC Movie Talk. There was a clip on AMC Movie Talk at one point. It popped in my head about how there was a comparison between Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese and Christopher Nolan. I'm not going to get into the whole discussion about it, but basically what the video said was, the video said that the email question said, why is Christopher Nolan not on the same level as Steven Spielberg or Martin Scorsese? He said, he basically what the guy said was, let's talk in 20 years. But let's face it, Steven Spielberg, regardless how you feel about Nolan, about Jon Favreau, about any up and coming director, Guillermo del Toro, regardless how you feel about any director that you like, Steven Spielberg has created and produced, literally, arguably speaking, the greatest movies of all time. And what the question brought up was, oh, I love Nolan's films. Again, he was just saying specifically for Nolan. He was just like, oh, well, I love Memento. I love in The Prestige and whatnot too. But it's funny, if you say to someone on the street, hey, have you seen The Prestige? They probably won't know what it is. But if you say Jaws, boom,
everyone knows what it is.
If you say Jurassic Park, boom. You say E.T., boom. You say Close Encounters of the Third Kind, boom. If you say Raiders of the Lost Ark or Indiana Jones, boom. You know what you're talking about. You don't. If you say outside of The Dark Knight, Inception, and Oppenheimer, Interstellar, his bigger films, I'm just comparing our conversation tonight to the video that I saw. But basically, that is the conversation that I have. If Steven Spielberg, arguably and objectively speaking, is the best director of all time. I know Bill just said Martin Scorsese, but Scorsese is probably like neck.
Okay, you know what? Can I say something?
Really quick.
Scorsese was my favorite director.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's my mistake.
Favorite directors of all. If I had to go best directors of all time objectively, yes, I would say Spielberg.
Correct. And you just have to, because I mean, I feel like people. This is, and I don't make this too long, but like basically people of our age who grew up in who were born in the late 90s and grew up in the 2000s and don't know a lot of his. They may know his name, but they haven't seen a lot of them. Get on it. Steven Spielberg's films are legendary for a reason. Period. End of discussion.
Here's the thing. So much of what Spielberg has done has been interwoven into every facet of Hollywood. Like any movie with the rating PG-13,
it's because of him.
Thanks to Spielberg.
Because of this man.
Because of Gremlins, which he produced, and Temple of Doom. Hands down.
PG with a little mustard to it.
Yeah, literally, that's all it is.
That's literally what he pitched it as.
So, awesome. Again, I don't want to go. I don't want to make this whole thing because we got to end the show. But I'm just saying, objectively speaking, and for hands down, my favorite director and my personal favorite director of all time is, objectively speaking, the greatest director of all time. And if you can disagree with me all you want, you can think about this or that. You could say Nolan. You could say Guillermo del Toro. You could say Jon Favreau. You could say Taika Waititi. You could say Ryan Coogler. I know we talked about a couple of those guys tonight, but let's be real. You can even say Patty Jenkins, the Russo brothers, whoever. But let's be real. It's Steven Spielberg, hands freaking down. And mine. I just want to add. I know. I'm finally getting down to the end of it, but my favorite film by him It's my favorite movie of all time.
Indiana
like-
Jones.
Is it's Raiders
Of the
of the
Lost Ark.
Lost Ark. If you've never seen it, get off my podcast and watch it now. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. Get off my podcast that I pay out of this my own pocket to run and watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. You will not regret it. Harrison Ford's delivery is priceless and timeless. Need I say more, gentlemen?
I think you need to do a Harrison Ford finger point to drive your point up across.